we need fat in our diet is a true but extremely misleading and often misused statement. Hey everybody, I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. And the problem with that is that people hear this statement and they make it sound like a profound thing, as if it's actually in any way difficult to get enough fat in your diet, or as if people on extremely low fat diets still don't get enough fat in their diet oftentimes. So again, it's really a ridiculous statement, because it also doesn't acknowledge that the overwhelming majority of fat types don't even fall into the category of the type that we need. Okay, fat is a very, 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 very broad category of macronutrients. Okay, it is a type of biological compound that we can use for fuel. It's not one specific thing, and therein lay the problem. That would be the equivalent of saying we need to consume liquid to survive. Okay, see what I mean? We need to consume liquid to survive. Well, what that actually means is that we need a minimum amount of water, the amount of water that we need to consume to keep our body functioning, right? And to not get dehydrated and so on and so forth. That's what it actually means. Specifically, it means water, H2O, right? And there are quantities that we know that we need to survive. And if you go under that, you'll die, or even certain amounts we need for health, right? That's what it means. But the other statement is true, but do you see how that could be misleading? I'm going to lead that into the same thing when it comes to fat. So since we have to consume liquid to survive, if a guru jumped up and told you, aha, so I actually consumed 7 gallons of alcohol a day, right? Or even more, I consume an entire gallon of Jack Daniels every day. Because of that, like, you would think they were stupid, right? You would think this guy is a blithering idiot. Wow. So why don't we do the same thing when people take this statement and say, so because of that, I eat extra 1,500 calories of saturated fat every day. Well, we don't need saturated fat to survive, number one. Number two, that's a ridiculous amount. So the reality, does anyone know how much fat we need fat in our diet? And optimal health is usually, I mean, if we want to talk about optimizing stuff, we could argue that our essential fat intake, particularly of essential fats, not other types, just the essential ones, is probably somewhere in that range of about 6 grams up to about 20 total grams a day. Okay? Well, that's very little. That's less than 200 calories, by the way. Okay? I want to be clear on that. That's less than 200 calories. It's a very small amount. And what fats is it that we need? We need not even all omega-3 and omega-6. We can make the others. We technically are essential fatty acids. People say, oh, so fish oil. No, fish oil is not essential. EPA and DHA. Are there benefits to supplementing EPA and DHA? Yes, it appears to be. Are they essential? No, our body can make them. We can make them out of alpha-linoleic acid. Okay, we can't make alpha-linoleic acid. We can't make linoleic acid. So the omega-3 and omega-6 there, that's the essential ones. That's ones we need in our diet. Now people say, well, we don't need those in our diet because we can just take the finished products. Well, no, because you actually need the others and intermediates. Their uses in the body. So yes, there you actually benefit and do need for optimal health to consume some of the others. You don't need large amounts of them, though. Right? You shouldn't need to be chugging them from a bottle. And if you get those, you can make the others. People say, but it's an inefficient process. Yes, it is, but you don't need that many. You don't need that many to survive. Now, are we going to talk about optimal health? Well, yeah, if your goal is to, say, lower triglycerides and do certain things with insulin sensitivity and certain medical stuff, yes, consuming fairly significant amounts of those in supplemental form can be beneficial. But are they needed for someone who hasn't already created an unhealthy situation? Is it necessary for them to, say, survive to the age of 80 or 90? Is it a requirement? No, absolutely not. Okay, it's very trace amounts, very, very trace amounts. So we do need to be clear on that. So yes, we can absolutely convert the others if there's sufficient intake of those into what we need for basic survival and the most basic health. It's not to say there are not benefits to the others. So we need to understand that difference. There could be in some cases some health markers and body composition and other benefits, inflammation control to the others. Now, as far as the other fatty acids, we don't need any of those. Like in order for you to survive, like if you say, I just don't want to have a malnutrition issue and I want to live to be an old age. Okay, I want to be clear. If that is your goal, your goal is to not have a malnutrition issue and to make it to your 70s or 80s, right? You do not need any other fats in your diet beyond those two I just listed. There is zero requirement for them. Now, can there be some benefits to some of the others? Yes. Do we ever need them in large amounts? Can we burn fats as calories, right? Yes, sure, they can be used as fuel, but lots of things. We prefer carbohydrates for fuel. Actually, our preferred most efficient fuel source would be glucose. But sure, in the absence of that, or even mixing, can we burn the other fats as fuel sources? Of course we can. And they can be particularly useful for endurance athletes. Okay? Yeah, no problem there. But they aren't really necessary. They're not even that important. Okay, again, the other argument, well, we need them to absorb fat-soluble vitamins. Do we? To maximize absorption, but if your diet is high in these foods already, a lower percentage of absorption doesn't really affect you. In other words, if you're getting sufficient sunlight, you're probably getting D3. If you're getting plenty of fruits and vegetables in your diet, you're probably absorbing all the vitamin A and vitamin K and stuff that you need. If your diet is low in some of these things, yeah, you absolutely may have some absorption issues on a really low-fat diet, or particularly if it's not a whole foods low-fat diet, a lot of junk food still in there that's been stripped of nutrients. Okay, fine. But are we talking under normal conditions? Do people on low-fat diets around the world in certain cultures that don't have it but are eating whole foods? You know, if sweet potatoes make up most of your calories, you're probably not deficient in most of those things. Okay, so again, misconceptions, and it's used to promote people, since we need fat in our diet, let's eat huge amounts of the fats that we don't actually need and our body can totally make on its own if it has to. That's the direction it goes. It's people get told basically because of this, let's eat some of the worst fats that are the least health benefits for us, the least useful to us. Let's just consume lots of those. That is the response. That logic is used to fuel that. The reality is, if you're getting even minimal amounts of food, whole foods that have your polyunsaturated fats in them, and even in fairly small amounts, you are probably getting all the fat that you need technically for survival in your diet. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys and gals next time.